I'm an entrepreneur. I'm not an influencer. मैं नहीं करूंगी ट्रेंडिंग रील्स पे डांस, मुझे कितने भी कोई पैसे आके मुंह पे फेंक के जाए. I have recently gotten single shame at the immigration counter at the airport. काफी घूमती हैं आप. मैंने कहा हाँ जी. तो किसके साथ जा रही हैं? मेरी दोस्त हैं. अच्छा शादी नहीं करनी आपकी तो एज हो गई है वैसे 30 से ऊपर. I want to know what your relationship with your grandparents was like. Like, you know, that's the kind of person I am. I'm not the hey, you up kind of person. Everything is not trauma. Oh my God. It's so traumatic.
And every relationship is now like, it's so toxic.
So many comments which we can't say. Hey.
Yeah. Hi, Bani.
Hi, Sukhmani.
Welcome to your own podcast.
Thank you.
How does it feel to be on the other side?
Oh man, it's so relaxing. I love not having to hold what you're holding. I love not having to know, you know, what to ask next. It's great.
So, like, how has it been for you so far? You know, this whole journey of hosting a podcast, it is your first time.
Yeah.
Like for all of us, the entire team, it's the first time. How has it been so far for you as a host?
So, you know, the thing is that I think let's start by telling people, because we've been working on this together, that this was very random.
Yeah.
And everything about this has been really random, right? It's just we thought of something, we were like, okay, we'll do it. Now, how to do it, where to do it, no idea, right? So we were like, okay, what are we going to name it? I remember it started with the logo. And
it started with the logo, yes.
It started with the logo and the name. We just knew what we were going to call it.
Yeah.
And I just knew that, oh, I'm going to have to ask questions. And I'm very comfortable having conversations. I'm not an introverted person. I just don't like the camera. I don't like it at all. Like, I still, like, so many episodes in, will not look directly at it because I'm not a fan. So I would much rather look at the person than look at the camera. And I don't think I'm still friendly with it. But I think the whole process of it has been very interesting from the first time where I was just nervous as hell. To now when it's like, mic lagana hai, it's fine. Yes, baithna hai. I'm not thinking about it as much.
Yeah.
So the conversation flows more naturally. The camera I'm still not used to.
So you're still not going to like look into the camera?
No, not yet. Another 10 episodes later maybe. I don't know.
We'll
just
see.
Not yet. Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah. So as a host, who has been your favorite guest so far? We haven't had very many, but we've had a very interesting mix.
A diverse bunch.
Yeah.
Very, and I think that was the intention also.
Yeah.
Which is that every guest has to be very different from the other. They shouldn't even be from the same field. You know, otherwise you don't get diversity in content.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is our mid-season break. So that means that 10 episodes in, I think just by far, I've loved the episode that we shot with Smriti ma'am.
Yeah, that was fun.
I think for the fact that it was the second episode that we ever shot. Like, I still remember that day. I remember the nervousness on that day. We were at her house.
And it was so sudden also.
We
didn't have too much notice.
We knew just a day and a half in advance, right? Because she has an extremely busy schedule. And we showed up at her house and, you know, we were setting up in her living room. And I remember her walking in, she'd gone to Parliament. And I remember you checking on your phone. You were like, oh, have they broken for lunch? Like, you know, what is she wearing? Is it going with the sofas? Because that's also such a stress. Now,
and we knew beforehand what she was wearing just because of that.
Correct. And then her coming in and just owning that space. Literally, like a star walked in and you knew it. That minute.
ये कैमरा ठीक करो, ये फ्रेम ठीक करो, it was all.
ये मुझे मास्टर दिखाओ, मैं लाइट चीट कर लूंगी, बानी के फेस पे लाइट आ रहा है. All that was just like, I was like, wow, man, I don't know how to do any of this, and I'm really glad that somebody does, so I don't have to do much of it.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that that conversation was so effortless because I had to do so little really gave me some confidence, because I was like, oh, you can sit in front of such a significant person and enjoy a conversation, even though you're very new to the whole scheme of things.
She was also such an interesting person to have because she had so many stories, and not just the political side or just the entertainment side.
Yeah.
It's such a mix of both because, yeah, I mean, she's lived both lives together.
Also, like, I really respect people who have a
Yeah.
very good command over both English and Hindi.
Yeah.
And this is why I have this thing where I feel like, you know, most of the people in podcasts who come from Bombay, unfortunately, don't have a very good hold of the Hindi, you know, side of
और वो पता चलता है फिर.
Of course, वो conversation में पता चलता है. अगर आप पले बड़े नहीं हो हिंदी बोलते हो तो पता चलता है. And with Smriti ma'am, she switches from like really, really good English to really, really good Hindi very quickly.
Yeah.
And that's again such a pleasure to, you know, watch and listen to.
Absolutely. Even as a viewer.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I think that episode is definitely like very high up on my, you know, list. And the other one that I very surprisingly enjoyed a lot was our episode with Anwesh, which, if I'm not wrong,
that was so fun.
Is currently like our most viewed episode.
Yes, it is. It has the highest numbers and for good reason.
Yeah.
It was so good, that episode.
He was a star. He was a star the minute he walked in. That 15-minute chat we had downstairs, I met him for the first time and it was just so easy, breezy. I laughed so much in that chat. I remember you guys were in giggles.
Yeah, I mean, it was difficult for us to hold our laughter at so many points. Like, people were holding their faces together to just not make a sound.
I can imagine.
It was so good, that episode.
I've been told my laugh is like really sharp and irritating, but I couldn't help but laugh. So, you know,
I mean, yeah, it has to come out, no? Naturally.
How to hold laughter now.
Of course. In front of him, you really can't.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, I know it troubles sound and on, but whatever. How can you not be yourself? If it's a podcast, you're going to be yourself.
Of course.
So if I laugh now stupidly, I laugh stupidly. It's okay.
Speaking of being yourself, one of the most stressful things about this podcast has been your hair.
Oh, yeah. Which is so odd because I went to the salon a few days ago.
Yeah.
And you know, usually how like people who work at a salon will tell you how so much is wrong with you because they want you to get like 100,000 treatments done. My guys tell me my hair is fab. They're like, "Arey, kya texture hai?"
But your guys at the salon are not our director, no?
Yeah. Vipin has had continuous issues with my hair, which is very sad because, you know, I like my hair, but
it's great.
Yeah.
But I mean, he has a higher standard.
Yeah, he's a perfectionist and I appreciate that.
Yeah, he really is.
And you know, I don't even care about how I look anymore. It's just like, will Vipin be satisfied?
Yeah, that's what we all
I'm only pandering to his opinion.
He is our audience.
Yeah. If Vipin thinks I look good, I presume everybody else also will.
Yeah. I mean, everybody else has a much lower standard.
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So, okay, the hair has been one source of stress. But where everything else is concerned, has there been any one episode that really stressed you out? Like in terms of just even prep or afterwards?
I'm very stressed about the ones we're about to shoot after. Little bit.
Yes. For good reason.
Again, touch wood. I was very stressed the morning when Vinamra said he might not come.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. I wanted to kill him because he had gone out that night, the night before.
Yeah.
And I think he slept really late. And
like when you woke up?
Yeah, when I woke up, he was possibly going to bed at that point in time. And he was the second shoot we had that day, right? And he was supposed to come in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And then he said that, can we do it tomorrow? And now the thing is that, of course, people don't know, but this is not something we do full time, right? We actually create content on our website for our Instagram, but the podcast is our side gig.
Yeah.
In fact, it is my side gig.
Yeah, actually.
Right? So we don't have the luxury of kabhi bhi kar lenge kyunki hamara pure time ka kaam hi nahi hai. We have a team, we have to see the availability of the team, you know, equipment, etc. So now once you've blocked a date, then it's very difficult to go back on that because we're not doing this in-house just yet.
Yeah.
So when he said he's not coming, I was very stressed that morning.
Yeah. Chalo, it worked out.
Then he came.
Yeah.
Then I called him and I said, listen, you can't do
that
this.
was also a fun episode though.
Yeah.
In his sleep deprived halat.
Mildly hungover.
Mildly hungover.
Yeah.
Sipping extremely strong coffee. It seems.
Yeah.
Yeah, that also
cups
was fine.
Of coffee later.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, again, it's one of our better episodes, I would say.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
it is. It was a fun episode.
It was a fun episode.
Yeah. Once I watched it back, I was just like, yeah, ye acha
Haan,
hi hai.
outside of the stress
Haan.
that I had initially about like him not coming or whatever, I think once
Hmm.
that was sorted, it was okay.
So,
Hmm.
another thing I wanted to ask you was that for the longest time, you had like this not an influencer, hashtag not
Yeah.
an influencer in your
Yeah.
bio. But now, see, now whoever else would think of starting a podcast or anything new online,
Yeah.
the first thought is कि चलो जी अब तो हम influencer बनेंगे,
हाँ.
हम तो चल दिए अब
हाँ.
इस रास्ते. So, but you are not, you're still not.
I am
You're
not an influencer. I am hashtag not an influencer, and I have such strong opinions on this, and I will tell you why. So the thing is that you have to look at the math of it, right? And I have very strong opinions on why I feel entrepreneurs should not be influencers. Influencers should be influencers. I currently follow what 800 plus people, of which many are influencers. So I love the universe of influencers. I think they are very important, you know, when it comes to brand communication and stuff like that. But if as an entrepreneur, the hour that I spend in making a reel for a brand which is outside of my own, if that is getting me more money than what my hours spent in my business is generating for me, then I'm doing it all wrong.
Yeah.
You know, that cost per hour that I spend investing in my business in a day is any day or ought to any day be greater than what I would get from a brand even if I hit 100K. Right? So there's the math of it.
Yeah.
That means I'm not doing my business right.
Yeah.
If I'm getting more money for paid partnerships and shooting a reel, doing this or whatever, and not doing my job, then it's kind of not making sense to me.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I know that no brand will ever be able to give me the amount of money that I can make with the hour that I spend in my business. Right? So that's one way of looking at it. And the other thing is, I feel like I just can't do it. And this is not to say that there's anything wrong with it. Like, I remember when we were shooting and Vrinda was like, will you do a transition reel with some sari? I'm like, kill me now.
I remember that.
Like, I can't, you know, and some people are so good at it. And I really, I'm not even comfortable with the camera. Right? So, talking to a camera and फिर उसमें कपड़े पहन के ऐसे कूद के कुछ करो ये
singing to a camera, dancing in front of a camera, just it takes a lot.
It takes a lot. Yeah. And like kudos to people who can manage to do it, but I think they do it because they love it.
I mean, they have to, right?
हाँ, but वो करते हैं इसलिए ना उनको passionate होंगे. मैं नहीं हूँ. I like to be.
मतलब ये तो this is one of those things you should not be doing if you don't love it.
Yeah, I agree.
Otherwise, it's a disaster.
Yeah. And also, it's just, I feel like if I am building something, then the only thing I should be promoting is what I'm building.
Yeah.
Why should I be promoting anything outside of that? So I'm an entrepreneur. I'm not an influencer. मैं नहीं करूँगी trending reels पे dance. मुझे कितने भी कोई पैसे आके मुंह पे फेंक के जाए. नहीं करूँगी मैं. I cringe at it so hard when I see other entrepreneurs doing like Dyson की ad and I'm just like क्यों कर रहे हो यार? Saturday, Sunday rest करो. दिमाग को ठंडा करो.
Now see, Bani, you're going to have to stick to this, huh? This cannot change next year.
It will not change next year or 10 years later.
It cannot
I will not do unless it's a friend's brand.
That's different.
And I will do it for free.
Yeah.
Right?
That's different. Completely.
And I have, again, see why I have strong opinions on this. कि आपको अगर किसी को help करना है, फिर आप उसके पैसे क्यों लोगे? Why do entrepreneurs go to talks at colleges and charge money?
Yeah.
आप तो बच्चों की help कर रहे हो ना, तो free में करो. कम करो, पर free में करो.
Absolutely.
You should not be doing that.
Yeah.
So, you know, ये नहीं मैं कर सकती. और मैं नहीं करूँगी. And I don't endorse it for people whose business it is not to be an influencer.
I feel like our social media team is going to have a little bit of a heartbreak listening to this.
Yeah. No, I think now they know.
They know, but they still have hopes. Shayad, kabhi, you know, at some point she may change her mind.
Some TikTok challenge I'll do.
She may change her mind and her numbers may skyrocket.
Not happening.
Yeah, it's going to hurt them a little bit. But theek hai. Okay, that's cool. So, okay, not an influencer, so we have established.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But another thing that we have established that you are
Yeah.
is a nepo kid.
Oh,
And
it's
this is,
true.
yeah, this is not the first time it's coming up
No.
also. In fact, it's come up in what? 4 episodes, I think? 3 or 4 episodes at least.
Possibly more to come also.
Yeah.
I won't be surprised.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I'm forgetting 1 or 2, but it's come up in the Smriti Irani episode.
Yeah.
It's come up with Anwesh,
Devita, Priyanka. Yeah.
And I feel like I'm forgetting somebody maybe, but anyway, but it's come up in these for sure.
Yeah.
But one thing that I have noticed apart from the podcast and just, normally at work also is that you do realize the privilege that comes with it. It's not like you're not telling us ki, oh, whatever, I'm working so hard and no one is appreciating me and I'm not getting anywhere or something like that. Whatever that sort of nonsense that nepo kids generally say ki I have struggled so much to be here and this and that. But now, how has that happened? Why I'm asking you this is, has that happened as a consequence of your life experiences? Is that something that, life has taught you in general?
Yeah.
या घर पे झाड़ पड़ी थी?
घर पे तो कुछ झाड़ नहीं पड़ती है यार मुझे. इनफैक्ट किसी को भी नहीं. I have to say I have the best set of parents in the world. And I don't just love them because they're my parents. I genuinely like who they are as human beings. I respect and value their journeys. They are self-made. I am not. Where they come from, from very, very sort of low middle class families. They work their way up, to whoever they are today and whatever that might be. And they worked really hard for us. And they haven't just done that. I've had a very sort of present, affectionate working mom, right? Who I remember being 4 years old, and at that point in time, I think Aishwarya Rai had just won the Miss World pageant. And I've told this story to people before, and I think I should say it again. And I saw her, she was dropping me to school in the morning, and I saw that she looked fantastic in some like DT type newspaper. And I told my mom, I said, she's so beautiful. And of course, I was wishing from inside, yaar, maybe kash itni sundar hoti. And my mom told me, you are even more beautiful than Aishwarya Rai.
That's so important for a child to hear.
And she's told me that at least 100 times in a year, and I genuinely walk into a room, even though I know it's factually incorrect, with the confidence that there is no one better in that room than me, because that's how my mother made me feel about myself when I was young. And that's exactly how my dad is as well, like a very hands-on, affectionate father. It's like, you do whatever makes you happy. You pursue your dreams. I'm with you. I'm behind you. So, I mean, jhaar to kya hi padegi yaar. We've never been slapped or hit as kids, ever. And, we still are very, very respectful to our parents. And I don't think you need to hit your children to scare them. I think it can be very, like some kids, it doesn't matter. I think their life turns out fine, so they don't hold it against their parents. But for children whose life does not turn out, the way that they would want it to, they resent their parents forever.
Absolutely.
It can be very traumatic for a child to, go through beatings. And I can't even imagine what that feels like, because again, ऐसे बहुत नाजों से पले हम तो सारे के सारे. But, and I think because of that, because they always told us that we had to be responsible, that it wasn't there yesterday, it may not be there tomorrow, it's very important to then be very cognizant of your privilege. You should not forget where you came from. Life is very uncertain. So just be a good person and work really hard, and hopefully it'll go your way. But nobody's lesser than you because they don't have your privilege. And I think it's very silly for people who are second gen in any field to pretend to be self-made or say that, oh my God, it was such a struggle.
That is just
shut up.
That is just so, it's so annoying to hear also.
How can I sit here? Look at where we're sitting. Look at what we're doing. Like, look at how old I am. Okay? मैं क्या struggle की story बताऊं?
वही ना, but it's so irritating when you're speaking to somebody and they're just like, मैंने इतना struggle करा है, मैंने ये करा है, मैंने वो करा है, मैंने ये करा है, पर वो भूल जाते हैं कि अच्छा, where have you come from?
Yeah.
What is behind you? What is backing you?
Yeah.
That's where all the struggle and everything goes down the drain, because you know that you can afford to do all of this. Whatever you're doing is because you know कि
I
आपको
can be sad in London. That's a
हाँ,
huge privilege.
yeah,
Right?
and you don't have to work for survival.
Yeah, you
You're
don't.
not, you don't have your entire family as dependents on you.
Not
you
at
know,
all.
so you need to understand that before you say कि oh my God, I've struggled so much in life.
No, that's quite infuriating. In
Yeah.
fact, it's funny. There was this one time a few years ago. Okay, one of my like very old school friends. Like we were friends for many years in school, and then we kind of fell apart. I think in the last 2 years of my school life, and she and I were always in the competitive in class in the sense that we were both high performers. Like it was either that she came first or I came first, but we were the best of friends, right? And we grew up together literally. The first day that she ever came to our school, she sat next to me. And one day we kind of reconnected on Instagram, and it was a random string of messages. And then she kind of went on a rant and said some really strange things, which included like, you don't deserve to be where you are where you are because of who your dad is. It's that pretty face of yours that opens the doors.
Now, there's nothing wrong with that.
The thing is, and then I remember just being very, very upset. And then I was very offended and hurt, because the truth is that I've really worked hard.
Yeah.
And I am very cognizant of my privilege, but I worked really hard. Like I wasn't just a straight A student. I'm an all India math topper. I learned how to sing for 8 years from Gandhar Mahavidyalaya. I learned how to speak in German while I was still in school. Like I really diversified my skills, and I wasn't just learning new things. I was trying to maximize my time and actually learning to ace them, right? And I've always been this like very classic overachiever कि मेरे को सब चीज में best होना है. It is just innately who I am. तो not working hard तो option ही नहीं है ना. How can you be an overachiever and not work hard?
Absolutely,
so you will not get the results out of that. So when somebody says you've not worked hard, that is hurtful. And I was deeply, deeply hurt that, she's seen me do it. Like she knows,
yeah, exactly.
what it took. Like whatever college I got into completely on merit, my dad is not someone who's now going to donate to get me in college and whatever. So I was very offended. But, as time passed by and you grow up, a part of me is like, she's not that wrong. Like it's not entirely untrue. I think outside of the hard work part, which no one can take away from me, I think everything else just is true. So why would I not accept that?
But also, it's true, yes, but it's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing. I would never change it. I don't want to change my parents. They're the best people in the world. So,
and like it's a bad thing, yes, when you are using it for something entirely terrible,
Yeah.
I'm not going to specify, but yeah, then it becomes a really bad thing. Or if you are just not cognizant of the fact that, your parents are who they are, and every parent helps their child,
Everyone
in some way or the other.
Anyone, right? And privilege is, my life reeks of privilege, not just because my dad is an established businessman. It reeks of privilege because I live in a country where I am a fair-skinned, upper caste, English-speaking, well-educated Hindu.
Yes.
Who
Absolutely.
has the freedom to work and earn and pay her bills.
Yeah.
So look at the number of privileges that I come from. Like, it's so strange to me. It was so strange to me. I was sitting at a Bhumi Pujan, and the Panditji, and I was by myself along with some other people, and the Panditji said, "What is your gotra?" Because apparently there is something called the gotra.
Yeah.
I didn't know what that was. Imagine living in a country like India. Totally.
And that is also a privilege.
That is also a privilege. Right? And they're just like, Aapka gotra kya hai? And I'm just like, but what is a gotra?
Yeah.
So I called up my dad and I said, he's asking me, I don't know. And he started laughing. And then he told me whatever it was. But that's also privilege. So when you live a life that reeks of privilege, how can you say that oh my God, my life is such a struggle.
Yeah.
That's really, really foolish, I feel. The one thing I can say is, oh my God, I'm working really hard and I'm not getting the outcome that I want. I think I'm allowed to say that.
That is fair.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Look, if you're building something upon what you already have, then it's absolutely fine. You struggle at that, you work hard at that.
You struggle to maintain it.
Yeah. And you crib about it also, you know, because you are, at the end of the day, you are working, right?
Yeah.
You are going to have something to crib about.
Yeah. And, you know, you inherit a lot of stresses in terms of just how you're going to run a business. And there's a lot that comes with it. But still, I would never go out and say this was hard.
Yeah.
Because it hasn't been.
Absolutely. It really irks me about some of these startup founders who are all like, I am struggling so hard, I'm self-made and this and that. Bro, you're not. You're not self-made. If you're not having to work to feed your family or for survival, you're not self-made.
Yeah.
Let's just, you know, let's just cut the crap.
मतलब some people maybe are more self-made than the others, but मैं तो बिल्कुल ही नहीं हूँ, तो I think it's fine.
हाँ, मतलब ये
I acknowledge it.
हाँ, ये मुझे बहुत ही like it's very hateful for me. कि like don't be
I'm just hardworking. Everything else is
because then these people try and negate your hard work also, na? Because look, I am a founder. I am doing this. I have reached at this level because of my hard work. You're obviously not working hard enough, which is not true.
अरे you can't even reach anywhere because of your hard work. आपके पास सारा skill set है ही नहीं कुछ भी चलाने का.
Exactly.
As one person, you only have a limited skill set. जो आपसे एक ही चीज कराएगा. You will be good at doing. You will be great at doing only one thing. You may be good at management, but you can't be great at everything.
Yeah.
So you anyway can't get anywhere without a good team.
Yeah.
You know, because you need different people who are skilled in different ways to take you ahead.
And that whole like we all have the same 24 hours in a day. You really don't.
Yeah. No.
Oh my God.
If you have, you know, if you can pay for people to clean up and, you know, you don't have to cook and stuff like that, just I'm, you know, fine with you not putting your gym selfies because you can go. Yeah, exactly. ठीक है.
Yeah, that I really like hate.
So we've hated on startup founders for being influencers and saying this self-made.
Yes. But I remember from the Vinamra episode. That when we were talking about things that piss him off in general, you had mentioned that you have a list of things in your head always that you hate or get irritated by. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about that list. I really need to know.
It's an unfortunately long list because I hate really stupid things and very, you know, minute things can irritate me. So, for example, chipped nail paint.
Chipped nail paint actually is on my list also.
Is such an icky thing. You know, when people like eat doing chop.
There's a name for that also. It's a thing. It's a phobia.
What is it?
I don't know. I've forgotten the name now. But it's a thing because it used to piss me off a lot.
So I have that.
Yeah. So I looked it up.
Yeah. I hate it when people send me flowers that are in a box. Like I know flower companies have made, you know, have built businesses based on putting in itne se flowers, itni height ke, in a box and sending it. And you know, as someone who loves flowers, like I actually will go and attend workshops on how to arrange flowers. मुझे ये होता है कि मुझे लंबे फूल दो जो मैं वाज में डाल सकूं और जो सेलोफिन में रैप ना हो. You know, एक बस जूट का वो उसको सुतली बोलते हैं.
फिर वो डब्बा रखना पड़ता है.
वो मुझे दे दो. ये डब्बे में इतने फूल मत दो. मेरे को बहुत ही वो लेजी लगता है. You know, it's like you spent no effort. Not that I don't appreciate flowers or if somebody sent me flowers that way, but as someone who is passionate about flowers, it bugs me when people don't understand.
So you know, of all of the things that I was expecting to be
this
on this list,
this was not on the list, nah?
This was not. Yeah, it wasn't even close.
Yeah, but this is like one of the smaller ones. Like entitlement pisses the shit out of me. Like when people just walk into a room and it's with this boisterous confidence that they own the universe. Like there is nothing more unattractive in a person than entitlement. Yeah. You know, I hate it when people just think they own my time. Like, you know, it's a busy day. You are possibly as busy or more or less, whatever that might be. Yeah. पहले पूछो कि, you know, सीधा उठा के phone क्यों कर रहे हो? I'm in a meeting and I'm someone who's been trained by my dad कि सारे फोन उठाने होते हैं और मैं उठाती हूँ 8 out of 10 unless मैं बिल्कुल ही नहीं कर सकती क्योंकि अब तो इतनी टेली कॉलिंग होती है तो you can't, but वो भी मुझे बहुत इरिटेट करती है. बट मुझे ना कि बस आज मेरा मन करे तो मैंने फोन कर लिया है बिना किसी काम के तुम्हारा टाइम वेस्ट करने के लिए, ये नहीं है मेरे पास देने के लिए टाइम. तो like don't own my time, like that really irritates me. It really irritates me when people go to our sales office and claim that they are my friends to get
People
a discount.
do that?
Yeah.
Like, how do they get away with it?
No, because that team reports to me.
Oh,
So
wow.
they always ask me, do you know this person? Firstly, if it's a friend of mine, I will make the call and tell my sales team that my friend is coming.
Yeah,
Please
because
show
you'll
them an
know,
apartment.
right?
I would know.
Yeah.
But then there are like age-old people who may know of you from school. And then
So they'll know that one thing about you.
they'll know that one thing about you, or they follow you on Instagram, so they'll be like, हाँ अभी वो तो यहाँ पे है ना.
Wow.
Yeah. So recently this happened. Somebody, a friend of a friend who I've never even hung out with by myself, like literally ever, went to our sales office. I think he saw an apartment and immediately, you know, the manager over there called me, said that, you know, they claim they're your friend and they asked me, you know, a discount. And I said, it's not really a friend, but whatever. And just the same time I was getting a text from him, hey, let's hang. I'm back in town. I'm just
hey,
like,
let's hang.
Yeah.
Get me a house.
I'm just like, come on, dude. Like, that's just tell me this is, you know, get to the point.
Yeah.
Cut to the chase. You know, tell me that, oh, I have your number, so I'm just going to like, I want to buy an apartment. Like, can you get me a better price or whatever? But don't be like, let's hang and all, because nahi karna mujhe hang.
Yeah. I think people also don't understand that sometimes it's just better to just cut to the chase and be direct.
I think you should. I think you should. Because nobody has time to spare. At least I don't.
Many people don't. You know?
But so many people do.
But even if you do, even if I am sitting absolutely vela at home, the last thing I want to do is get into like this polite conversation ki, oh, how's it going, this and that. Again, cut to the chase.
हाँ, सीधे से बताओ क्या चाहिए, काम से काम. If you are my friend, I'm available to you at 3 a.m. at night to do anything. Literally, I have the best friends in the world and they have access to me at all times. But this acquaintance behavior pretending to be friends is very...
Yeah, that must be happening a lot also, no?
Lately, I've realized I have too many friends.
Ab to aur hoga.
Also, when brands tell me to like promote their stuff.
Ab dekho, they have to shoot their shot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can't really blame them for that.
Or like the hey dear kind of messages on Instagram.
Hey dear, that is left at hey dear. There is no follow-up. It's just a hey dear.
No. There are people who will message you every day. I do have some people who message me every day.
Wait, are you talking about weird DMs on Instagram?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
There are a few people who message every day.
People you know or
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Every day.
We can get to that. That might be fun to know.
It's so funny because I have some measly followers. I cannot even begin to imagine what it must be to be someone who has followers who in the hundreds and thousands or the millions. Like unko kya hi log bolte hoenge. And you know, I'm too very conservative on Instagram. Like
you are actually.
मैंने अपने सारे comments, if I don't follow you, you can't comment on my picture. Because मुझे नहीं चाहिए ऐसे लल्लू लड़कों की validation. You know, hey madam, dear. You look like this. Hey dear, I don't want it. I don't need it. My parents loved me a lot when I was growing up. I don't need your validation.
Looking cute.
Yeah, it's sick.
Yeah, it really is sick. It is. I think that's probably why I have never had a public account.
I didn't want to. Yeah. I didn't want to. But then I was told it was very important. So
yes.
I did it very reluctantly.
Yeah, I am not here to discourage you from your public account. We need that.
Yeah. So then I had to, and then since then I have just become very like conservative because I don't want that.
You know, even chalo ye to public account hai. So it's visible to a lot of people. Even on my very private account, I have maybe 200 followers or something, and all people I know, friends and family. Even then, in my message requests, every now and then, there will be one, hi dear.
Yeah.
I'm just like, the audacity is staggering.
Yeah.
It really is.
That's why I think arranged marriage is like the antidote for like the hey dear type message in your, you know.
I mean.
Others inbox.
Yeah, maybe.
How else?
Maybe.
How else are they finding people? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah, but getting to marriage, it's one of my
Yeah.
favorite topics, and
Oof.
not for reasons that people would think, but it is one of my favorite topics.
Yeah.
Especially since I got married, it's been one
Yeah.
of my favorite topics because
You're the only married person in our team.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, which is why I'm the wise owl
Yeah.
of the team. I
Yeah.
know everything.
Yeah.
So the one thing, you know, like it pissed me off was like this stereotyping, you know, कि देखो अब इस time तक शादी हो गई है. And I had honestly thought कि शादी के बाद a lot of this would be better. You know, like this whole thing would be this whole age shaming,
Then it's
single
बच्चा कर
shaming.
लो.
No, it's not just बच्चा कर लो भी ठीक है. एक साल के बाद is when the pressure really starts or whatever. But it's just everything that you're supposed to be when you're married.
Yeah.
You're not, you know, you're supposed to look
You are
a
not that
certain-
person.
No, I'm not.
I can say
You're
that.
supposed to look a certain way.
Yeah.
You're supposed to do things.
Yeah.
You're supposed to behave a certain way.
Agreed.
You're not supposed to be talking back. If you're talking back, you're Komolika, you know, but you're not like entirely Komolika also, but you're
Yeah.
nowhere near Tulsi.
Yeah, agreed.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's, people don't understand that. And that pisses me off so much.
Yeah.
Which is why marriage became like my favorite topic to talk
Yeah.
about, because I was just like, ki, matlab, why do I need to be wearing something around my neck or something on my head or anywhere to show people ki I am a man's property?
Yeah.
Please do not come close
Yeah.
to me. Or otherwise, if I don't, then by, you know, you can say whatever to me, you can do whatever, you can behave any way
Yeah.
you want, because I am
ये
just
बहुत forward हैं.
हाँ
सुखमनी जी बहुत forward
बहुत
हैं.
बहुत काफी
सुखमनी जी ने नाम भी
न्यू
नहीं
टाइप
बदला
की
है.
थिंकिंग है इनकी कुछ ज्यादा ही मॉडर्न
सुखमनी
है
जी कंटेंट हेड करती है एक प्लेटफॉर्म जिसका नाम है ऑल अबाउट ईव. तो
हाँ
क्या ही उनके थॉट प्रोसेस होंगे.
हाँ.
सोचिए.
yeah exactly so
Yeah.
it's very it gets a little much
Yeah.
but coming back to single shaming,
Yeah.
you know, so that is also, that used to piss me off a lot, but now I'm not single shamed. That
Yeah.
is the only privilege I have.
Yeah.
I'm not single shamed anymore.
Yeah.
I'm baby shamed, but that's
I
different.
have recently gotten single shamed
Huh.
at the immigration counter at the airport. I was going
Wait. At the immigration counter at the airport.
at the Delhi airport.
Was it someone you know?
No. The immigration guy. So my best friend
The
Ronika and
people who
I.
are checking your passport
Yeah.
are now single shaming
Yeah.
also.
Because the world is like free to opine na, on
Yeah,
whether
that's
you
true.
should be married or
Yeah.
not. So I remember I took a holiday with my best friend Ronika, who's also a single girl.
Oh.
And the two of us decided that we are going to be spending 2 weeks in Europe in the summer.
Two single girls.
Two
my
single
God.
girls. और हम कहाँ ऑस्ट्रिया और पोलैंड गए पहाड़ देखने को. Firstly ऐसे कोई, you know, we didn't go on some rampage or anything. We like this sweet girl sleeping at 10:30. We were like, where are the mountains? You know, whatever. And we both were on separate flights. Like she was flying, I think, just the morning, that morning, and I was flying that night or something like that. And I went to the counter and he's looking at my passport, and I really enjoy traveling. And I do travel every opportunity that I get, because I'm just like, I don't have any responsibility. What am I working for?
Yeah, as you
know?
should, yeah.
So I have a passport full of stamps, and the guy at the immigration counter is just like, किधर जा रही हैं आप? तो मैंने कहा अभी तो वियना.
हाँ.
अच्छा. And I'm very scared of authorities. Okay? Like, I don't know why. I'm very scared of especially immigration people. Or like, you know, I feel like कि अगर मैं वो सिक्योरिटी भी क्लियर कर रही हूँ ना, तो आई गेट वेरी रिलीव्ड कि ओ दैट बीपर डिडंट गो ऑन,
कुछ मिला नहीं.
not that I would have anything, but
Yeah.
it's like I am intimidated by authorities like that. So you know, I'm like very nicely answering all his questions, and he's like, अच्छा काफी घूमती हैं आप? मैंने कहा हाँ जी. तो किसके साथ जा रही हैं? मेरी दोस्त हैं. अच्छा शादी नहीं करनी आपकी? तो एज हो गई है वैसे 30 से ऊपर. फर्स्टली इन माय हेड आई एम जस्ट लाइक, यू नो, क्या प्रॉब्लम है तुम्हारी? स्टैम्प करो चुपचाप, यू नो. व्हाटएवर.
I mean,
it was like the जब we met moment where I wanted to be like, चिल्ड्रन नहीं है मेरे पास.
Yeah,
Free
पर
में
airport
ज्ञान
पे
मत
ऐसे
दो.
बोलना ना would be just very risky.
Can't say that, and I was too scared to be sassy. So I was just like, इसीलिए तो नहीं करी ना, फिर मैं
हाँ.
घूम फिर सकती हूँ.
हाँ.
शादी करके तो फिर,
Oh, that must have lit something else.
Yeah, so then he was just saying, hey, and then he stamped my passport. But of course, it happens all the time. Though I have to say, it does not happen. It happens far less to me than it happens to other girls my age, because I think people are a little bit scared of me. Like, I don't think they would dare to, like a random stranger like that dude possibly could.
Yeah.
But anyone who knows me, probably 8 out of 10 would not come and say that to me.
Huh.
But it's a very real thing. Like, I know some of my friends who've experienced it, you know, that aggressive sort of single
शादी क्यों
shaming.
नहीं कर रहे हो?
हाँ, and you know, क्या प्रॉब्लम है तुम्हें,
हाँ.
सेटल क्यों नहीं? अरे नहीं मिला कोई यार, आप अगर नहीं ढूंढ रहे तो चुप
हाँ.
करके कोने में बैठो.
हाँ, that's true. Actually.
अपना काम करो. मे बी किसी को करनी ही नहीं है.
Yeah.
चलो मुझे करनी है.
हाँ.
I want to have kids. I want to be married, but I want to do it once and I want to do it right, and I'm in no rush.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, what is your issue in life? I don't understand.
And that whole thing of like your biological clock is ticking and whatnot.
That
there
is
are ways around
why
it.
I froze my eggs. So I was just like, you know, you can't tell me my biological clock is ticking anymore. I froze it.
I'd like to see someone's reaction to that at like a shadi or something.
At a shadi or something. I put it on Instagram now. So I think they are as shocked as they ought to have been.
But people have very short-term memories. It'll come back.
बोलने दो, I'm telling you, मेरे से सब थोड़ा सा डरते हैं, which is very strange because I don't think I'm an intimidating person, but I have been told I might come across.
But look, if you're a woman and you're telling people कि this is why I am not getting married, कर लो जो करना है. That's scary enough.
अरे recently at this one wedding, okay, some like really old person told me that, you know, before I go, I want to see your wedding. So I said, boss, look, I'm going to get married when I find the right person. आप अपना देख लो.
हाँ, मतलब.
So then the next he told me, I want to live. I said, great. That's what you have to do. You have to just tell them that, look, it's not going to change my life trajectory, what you think I must be doing. So
this I've seen in at least a couple of shadis. Ki they have gotten married because ki, oh my God, some grandparent is critically ill and they have put that thing on them, you know.
Look, if you're already together and the intention is to get married, that I understand. But if you're just randomly finding just any person and saying I'll get married because some grandparent, that's a bit odd.
That is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's odd.
It's very odd. Like these arranged marriages that have been rushed. Ki this one's grandparent is very ill और उनको शादी देखनी है, ये तो, you know, सर पे है कि देख के ही मरेंगे and all of that.
I have never understood people who have met each other for 4 times and gotten married.
And these grandparents have lived. They've lived aram se. They have seen the first anniversary. They've seen the bachcha. They've seen everything aram se. Like nothing has been. There was no reason to rush. But it's just, I think they have that thing कि
अब also want entertainment.
हाँ कि थोड़ा सा कुछ होने वाला है तो बस शादी करा दो कि single बच्चे नहीं देख सकते हम.
Shadi solves anything.
Yeah.
Married people are as miserable as single people. So what is?
No. There I would differ with you. Single people are happier.
Really?
Yes.
Just kidding.
You know, single people are happier in certain respects also because, I mean, what if you don't get along with your spouse all the time?
You will be surprised that most people don't really get along with their spouse all the time.
Yeah, that is a little bit of luck also.
Yeah.
The person has grown with you.
Yeah.
You know, the person that you're living with. But yeah, I remember Devita had mentioned in her episode when we'd spoken about single shaming.
Yeah.
And you know how people are miserable in their own shadis, but they're like, get married.
Look,
please get married.
I have some very, very happily married friends, and I think it's amazing, and I really value that, and I respect that, and of course, I wish that that were true or happens for me as well. But till such time, till I'm convinced that there is someone who is going to add to the level of my joy, and add value to my life, you know, I'm not going to just be with anyone. Like, you have to bring something to the table, and by something I don't mean anything other than just like I am 70% happy all the time. So either at the very least keep me as happy or add to that.
Yeah.
But if you're going to just make me reduce my level of joy to 60%, then what is the point of that relationship?
Yeah. इसीलिए ना लड़कियों की शादी पहले बहुत पहले कर देते थे, before the age of 25.
हाँ कि
अक्ल
तुम
नहीं आती
बनो
थी
ही
इतनी.
मत तब,
हाँ.
don't be yourself only,
इतनी
don't
अक्ल ही नहीं होती
develop.
ना at that
Yeah.
age. Which is why, again, this is another thing I don't understand, is this age-based thing कि oh my god, इस उम्र से पहले शादी कर लो. Now I get it.
See,
Now I get
that's
it.
also a biological thing, I feel, because the biological clock
हाँ,
ticking is a very real thing.
It is.
You can't escape that, and it's a
Yeah.
natural thing. But if you don't want to, let's say, compromise on the kind of relationship you want or the
Yeah.
kind of partner that you want, then you can work around it as I did. And it really was a very liberating experience. Like,
Yeah.
I think that, you know, even that subconscious slight pressure that you might feel of, you know, having to find a partner, it just evaporates like that. Because
Yeah.
you're just like, you know, I have 10 years, it's fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, speaking of having time on your hands,
Yeah.
you know, have you ever considered dating apps?
You know, the thing is, I have never been on one, and I am not on any dating app, because I feel like you're either a stories person or you're a stats person, and I'm a stories person. Like, I want to know what your relationship with your grandparents is like. Like, you know, that's the kind of person I am. I'm not the hey, you up kind of person, I feel. And I have been told that people have spotted a profile of mine, but I want to say, this is the first time looking in the camera, it's not me. Like, I've never been on any dating app. I've never been on any like bureau, shadi rishta, matchmaker situation. And I actually had a couple of people who made a fake profile of mine who I had to send a legal notice to, because I got to know, this is very interesting, I got to know from some, you know, like friends of friends who had apparently received a bio data of mine, which I had never made.
From a shadi app?
From a matchmaker, like a bureau, whatever. And then it had like all false data. Firstly, I just want to specify. Like, it said, I have been a vegetarian now for like 18 years, and it said like non-vegetarian, then it said like I'm like 68 kilos, and I'm just like, that's not my accurate weight. And then it was like, I'm like 5'3", I'm like, no, I'm 5'5", and you know, whatever they could get off Facebook, they chepoed it. And then they sent it to people saying, "Are dekho, hamare paas ye bhi hai," and people were like, "Are milao." Then they were just like, नहीं, उनको नहीं मिलना है, क्योंकि उनको तो ऐसा लड़का चाहिए, या वो तो इनके साथ चक्कर चल रहा है, whatever. So I've apparently, on my behalf, matchmakers have rejected many boys in Delhi, which I apologize for, but it was not me. So I actually then sent a legal notice. I was like, how can you fake my identity? That's so weird, and that's so unnecessary, and it's illegal. Yeah. But whatever. I mean, that's the very first, but there's so many other problems with that. So I feel like I don't think that universe is for me. But don't you think that it might be fun to just go like swipe? I find that frustrating. Like, you know, the whole thing of swipe is just like, ye kya hai? For me. But it's also very fascinating, because I've seen my friends, you know, do it, and it's also very interesting initially, because you're just like, oh, there are so many people, right, which ordinarily you would not come across. But I'm just not drawn to that process at all. I also don't want to be mean and say, but I don't kind of need it. So getting to that, I've noticed some things, you know. I'm not going to mention names, of course, but, you know, because I've watched all the episodes multiple times, and I have to, right? So there is a thing that I have noticed in maybe a couple of episodes. There have been slightly, you know, flirtatious vibes happening from one end only. I'll clarify that. But I have felt like maybe, you know, someone's trying to shoot their shot a little bit. I have not felt any such thing, I must clarify. But so you're telling me nothing, like there was no attempt. But disappointing. But I will say that you guys pick up on it far, like faster than I do, for sure. Like, for me, if you don't brazenly say something to me, I don't get the subtleties, I guess. So, I mean, I didn't sense it. I mean, then maybe you should. But other people may have sensed it, but it didn't occur to me at all. Maybe then you should be just prepared. I don't know. Just saying. Most of our guests are women only. It's okay. Most, not all. Most, not all.
So, okay, you may not be picking up on like flirtatious vibes or anything,
Yeah.
but does that mean that you're single right now?
I am single right now.
Okay, see, now that's a declaration to put
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
But so what is it like,
Hmm.
apart from the age-based shaming that we've spoken
Yeah.
about?
Yeah.
I want to know what it's like because I got married right at the brink of 30, like at 29. So I feel like in the...
You were just there.
I was just there.
Just there.
Yeah, like in the entire shitty decade of the
Yeah.
20s,
Yeah.
I was happy and single
The
or whatever.
20s are shitty.
They are very shitty.
They are the worst.
Yeah.
And I feel like turning 30 was the best thing that happened to me because
Henna?
I have never felt better about life, about the perspective that I have derived from my 20s, about the maturity that you gain, from, let's say, relationships that may not have worked out. So the 20s, I think, are just, if there are people who are in their 20s and they're struggling, like, it's okay.
Like
it's real.
you handle most things better in your 30s, I think.
100%.
Yeah, like any sort of life crisis, even if it's like something as trivial as a 2 mahine ki relationship ka breakup.
Yeah.
You handle that also better in your 30s.
Yeah, because in your 20s, 2 mahine ka relationship is not trivial, I feel, for a lot of people. So I think your take on relationships is also so different. What you want from it is so different. How you
know
see
yourself
is different.
Yeah.
You see the red flags more clearly.
Yeah, and you don't have
them.
these absurd reactions also, no? To people, those heavily emotional reactions.
Yeah, I have never understood why people say such like, tall and give such tall statements like, I can't breathe without you. I'm like, but you are.
Yeah,
like,
at this very moment you are.
You can, like nobody stops breathing, nobody dies. I don't want to make like trivialize heartbreak, but I feel like among other things, heartbreak is a very manageable disaster. It's a gut-wrenching one, don't get me wrong. It's really painful. But it's not the equivalent of losing a limb, losing a loved one, not having food to eat. I mean, I think it's okay. We can just like calm down and accept that.
Yeah.
सबको सांस आ रही है, सब जी लेंगे.
You can live without people.
ठीक हो जाएगा, and you recognize that better in your 30s because you're like, but I have also lived.
Exactly.
I made it.
Yeah, the relationship at 25 didn't break me, so it's okay. This whole, oh my God, what will I do now?
And this very interestingly, I was listening to an interview of Bassi, where he said, the person who leaves is the one who's usually blamed for having been the heartbreaker, and we only kind of console the person who's heartbroken. And he said कि पर मुझे भी तो नहीं मिला ना जो मुझे चाहिए था वो relationship से. Technically, तो I also left because I was not happy with what the outcome of that relationship was, which is so true. And I've walked out of a relationship or two, and of course it has broken my heart too.
Obviously.
It does, because what you wanted from it was also different. But it's okay. You do move on with time. And I think anyone who's experiencing heartbreak, I just want to say that it does get better. Every day it gets a little bit better, and you will continue breathing and you will be okay.
So I feel like that answer is going to piss off some 22, 23-year-old. Not even 22, 23-year-old. Actually, I think it's going to piss off like a 17, 18-year-old also, who's probably feeling that this is it. This relationship, my very first, the one that I had in school, was it. This was going to be my one and only, and this has not worked out, and that's it. I can never love again.
I am not pandering to the Gen Z audience. It is not my audience. I am okay with them thinking that I am too cynical, and it's fine. I can't with the kids.
Yeah, I mean, Gen Z is tough.
Yeah.
They're kind of tough to understand, to talk to.
Yeah.
Hear.
Also because I'm just like, I get it, and some things are traumatic, but like everything is not trauma. Oh my God. Yeah. It's so traumatic.
And every relationship is not like, it's so toxic.
Yeah, everything is toxic and everything is traumatic.
I mean, I feel like we've lost so much of our vocabulary, with all of this. Like, think of other words.
Every manager is toxic, every like boyfriend is toxic, and every incident that happens is traumatic. I'm not trivializing it. I think some things really are toxic and some things really are traumatic, but then some aren't, and I think we should have the objectivity.
And also more words.
More words.
Use your words.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
you were sent to school at a considerable cost.
I agree.
Not to learn just 2-3 words and
Yeah.
just be like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I'm dying. It's also
Yeah.
toxic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
This is Auntie Eve. This is Auntie Eve talking.
yeah. Yeah. So
just two aunties saying, you know,
Totally.
just grow up. It's okay.
yeah, actually, honestly, you know, like I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of kids need to know that just grow up. It's fine.
Yeah.
Everything is fine. Your
Yeah.
life is not falling to pieces because
Yeah.
I don't know, a dress has not shown up. Like, chill.
Dude, don't even get me started on first world problems of
Yeah.
dresses not showing up. You know, you were talking about influencers.
Yeah.
And some things that piss me off. This was one of them. I know someone who literally put it up on social media that their like greatest stress / anxiety inducing incident was that they could not find a dress to wear at Cannes. And
Wow.
if that is the problem that literally makes you shatter into pieces, then we should all be so lucky.
भगवान सबको दे ये
सब
struggle.
में मुझे आई स्वेयर मतलब यहाँ खाने को लोगों के पास रोटी नहीं है, घर नहीं है, सर पे you know किसी का कोई पता नहीं कोविड में चला गया और आपका you know स्ट्रेस देखो स्ट्रेसफुल होगा, आई एम श्योर स्ट्रेस होता ही है, बट ये मतलब लाइफ का एंड नहीं है यार, तुम्हें ड्रेस नहीं मिली क्या मिली, क्या बकवास है.
And also like then don't be objective enough or just have that perspective कि ठीक है maybe I shouldn't be putting it out on social media.
Yeah.
Let me stress out on my own in my own room.
हाँ और like
Freak the
tell
hell
my
out.
closed ones मतलब
Yeah.
क्या सीख इन्फ्लुएंसर भी तो ऐसी बातें करते हैं फिर बच्चे
हाँ.
क्या सीखेंगे.
Actually, so true. This is a line I never thought we would say कि influencer ऐसी बातें करते हैं तो बच्चे क्या सीखेंगे?
This is Auntie Eve talking.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
Auntie Eve talking. Not
Yeah.
that we are revealing identities
No,
here.
no, no.
Yeah.
It's
But-
the vibe of Auntie Eve.
Yeah, it's the vibe of Auntie Eve.
Yeah.
Completely. So, Bani, let me ask you the most pertinent question of this entire podcast, the
Please
entire
do.
season of this podcast.
Yeah.
What you ask everybody and put them on the spot for. How do you unwind after hours? Tell me that.
I do nothing. And that is how I unwind after hours. I do mindless scrolling on Instagram. On a Sunday, I will be in my pajamas till 5 p.m. and shower at 5 p.m. Play with my dogs. Unless I have to meet a friend, in which case I will obviously shower and go.
That's good to know.
But that being said, like I'll read a book. I'll just do nothing. So my unwinding is just velagiri, for the lack of a better word. Because you know the thing is, I live by a principle, and it's the 70-30 principle. So you know, like I told you, I've been this like overachiever, and मुझे हमेशा ऐसे 100 on 100 चाहिए थे. और मैंने इतनी losers की तरह मैं रोई हूँ ना जब मैथ्स में 100 नहीं आए हैं. Which is just, you know, that kid, like I frown upon that kid now, but I was that kid back then. And then, you know, also the Indian education system only rewards like the late 90s, you know, percent scorers and the 100 on 100 and whatever. And then I went to university abroad and there was no 90s, 100 का तो कोई system ही नहीं है. तो आपको first, which was the in the UK, it's called a first. To get a first, you have to get 70%. I think this is not bad. You know?
Refreshing.
It's refreshing.
Yeah.
70 पे आप फिर first class में जी रहे हो.
Wow.
You know, that's not bad.
Yeah.
So I was like कि ये तो ज़्यादा better है. तो 70-30 मैंने बनाया कि you have to get 70% from life and forgo the 30 that you don't get. And just be like, okay, I am never going to have it all. I mean, you can have it all, you just won't have it all at the same time. Everything is going to come at the expense of something. You know, your career might come at the expense of your partner might come at the expense of your family might come at the expense of something else, right?
Yeah.
So you're not going to have it all, but if you're getting 70% of what you want, then just be happy. So the 70-30 principle applies to my time also. That 30% of my time has to be, you know, spent doing things that rejuvenate me, that relax me, which is I'm just like, तुम छुट्टी के दिन पे ब्रांड के लिए रील क्यों बनाओगे? तुम रेस्ट क्यों नहीं कर रहे हो? You need to rest, you need to be refreshed, right? So the 70-30 applies to what I expect out of a partnership also. 70 days out of 70% of 365 days I am very happy.
Hmm.
You know, बाकी के जो 109-10 दिन है मैं नहीं हूँ खुश and I'm okay with it. See, think about it. It's actually quite profound and I'm claiming for it to be profound. But that principle allows you to be okay with having 9 to 10 bad days a month.
Yeah.
Let's
you
say
need to
3
allow
to
yourself,
4
yeah.
are hormonal anyway
Yeah.
for a woman, right? Then it's suddenly your perspective changes and you're like, this is not a bad life, this is a bad day, and I'm still winning with the first.
Yeah.
You're a winner at life with nearly 9 bad days a month.
And that is so important for women
Yeah.
generally.
So, you know, and maybe you don't have 9 per month, maybe, you know,
Yeah.
you've had great days one month and you have 20 shitty days the next month, but you are still winning with the first. तो और क्या चाहिए life में?
ये अगर मुझे किसी ने स्कूल में बताया होता,
हाँ.
I would not have been that scared at my PTMs.
ये PTM पे शायद apply ना करे, but life में I think the 70-30 ratio is golden. Like I live by it and it really helps me just get by.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, honestly.
Yeah, without complaining too much.
Yeah, that is really essential. Because if you're spending your rest days complaining,
yeah,
that's really not a rest day.
No, that's not a rest
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, and people really underestimate the importance of rest, I feel, especially in our country,
Yeah.
where we are just all about the hustle now.
नहीं मेरे को तो hustle नहीं पसंद. देखो जितने घंटे काम कर रहे हो, you have to give it your all.
Yeah.
I will definitely say that is my expectation from people, that the hours that you're working, I am saying that, okay, let's say you have an 8-hour work day, be productive 6 hours, but be highly productive 6 hours.
Yeah.
Right? And the rest, when I don't want to bother someone.
Yeah.
I may put a text late at night because that's when I have the opportunity to see something. I don't expect a response till the next day or whenever, you know, working hours out or whatever. But when you're resting, do nothing. Be free from that. You have to be able to disconnect, but also do that when you're putting in your best, because that is also an expectation that people have from you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Very, very profound, very serious.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. Okay. So now how you play a game with all your guests.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, yesterday I asked the team, what game do you think I should play for Bani's podcast?
Yeah.
I got some very interesting ideas.
Okay.
Obviously, I can't do all of them. I wish I could.
Yeah.
But I can't do all of them. So, I'm going to do the one that I thought would be funnest with you. Okay. So, we're going to play a game of Would You Rather.
Okay.
Okay. But Would You Rather Bollywood edition.
Okay.
Would you rather be besties with Ranbir Kapoor's Bunny or Ayan? Eh, dil hai mushkil wala Ayan.
Oh, wow. They're both terrible.
Yeah. But you have to choose one.
Bunny, because at least he's fun. Ayan is just too rotlu, I feel.
Yes, very.
Also, then it's too hectic managing that friend is in love with you and all. It's just not nice.
He may not be in love with you. He's just a bestie.
Yeah, but you know, like...
ये अच्छी expectation है अब.
ये हो चुका है मेरे से. मैं नहीं करना वापस.
Okay. Have an evening of drinking and ranting with Kareena Kapoor's Geet.
Okay.
Or Pooh.
I think Pooh, just because I feel like that would be very entertaining. The thing is, neither of them are good listeners.
Yeah.
So even if I want to rant, कोई भी नहीं सुनेगा. But at least मुझे funny responses मिल जाएंगे Pooh से, you know, थोड़े scandalous type. So maybe that.
Geet may yell at you.
Yeah.
Okay. Go on a date with Ranveer Singh's Kabir, Dev Dhadakne Do Kabir, or Murad from Gully Boy.
No, Kabir.
Murad
I don't understand that universe.
Okay. Be flat.
Kabir is very close to my life a little bit.
That's why I thought maybe Murad for like a change of scene.
नहीं. I'm not so adventurous.
शादी थोड़ी करनी है.
हाँ, फिर भी.
चलो ठीक है.
हाँ.
Be flatmates with Alia Bhatt's Safina, again Gully Boy, or Isha. Shiva.
Oh, मैंने वो मूवी नहीं देखी है, thank God.
मैं ट्रेलर तो देखा ही है.
हाँ.
That's the entire movie.
सफीना. वो प्रोटेक्ट कर लेगी.
Good choice.
कोई गुलू गुलू करेगा तो धूप देगी.
हाँ.
That's not bad. That's fine.
Okay. Do a rapid fire style interview.
Yeah.
With Kangana's Rani or Tanu.
Tanu.
Yeah.
Tanu is
She'll
like
be
not
fine.
bichari, right? Like
Yeah.
she would be sassy as hell.
Oh yeah, she would.
Yeah.
Okay, last one. Would you hire in ATS
Yeah.
Sonam Kapoor's Aisha or Dolly? Dolly की डोली. एक को तो करना पड़ेगा.
Dolly ki Dolly, because at least Dolly is jugadu, Aisha is utterly useless.
And she's smart.
She's smart.
Yeah.
You know? At least like what she puts her mind to, she'll get done. Aisha to was nothing only. तो वो नहीं करना मुझे hire.
हाँ, बस हो गया. See?
Not bad.
So simple.
I was damn good at the game, I feel.
Yeah, you were. Completely. I told you you'd be good at it.
Yeah. This has been fun, like sitting on the other side,
है
like
ना?
not having the stress of asking questions. Where is this conversation? Where the conversation is going to go? It's fab.
हाँ, वो सारा मेरा stress था.
हाँ. Today that was yours.
Yeah.
Much appreciated being stress free today.
है ना?
हाँ.
Chalo, you had a good time?
I had a great time. I've had a great time doing this also. I think especially what has been really fun is us, at least from like our All About It team, you, me, Vrinda doing this together. You know, and the commentary through the edits have been so much fun.
Oh my God, the edits.
The edits have been so much fun. Also because initially it was so weird for me to watch myself again and again and again. And it was such a journey because I was just like, ew, I hate my voice. Ew, I hate how I look. You know, everything was ick. And then slowly you just get used to it and you're like, not bad actually. It's fine only. But, you know, like so many comments which we can't say. Hey.
Yeah. There's a lot we can't say.
There's a lot we can't say.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, is there one that we can? No, we can't.
Not really.
Can we say पीछे से भगवान की light?
That we can. Yeah. पीछे से भगवान की light आ रही है.
That was a very classic Vrinda moment, which was fun.
The other thing we cannot say.
The other thing we really cannot say. But I'm excited for what's coming next. I think we have better ones. Coming out after.
Let's see. Yeah.
Hard to say.
We've been surprised also.
Oh my God, we have to talk about, before ending this, how everything we've done so randomly has been construed as strategy.
Yes.
Like, it has convinced me that my instinctive choices are great because
they're strategic.
Yeah, they're strategic as interpreted by others. But whether it's about the release date or whether it's like, oh, was this a collaboration with XYZ?
Yeah.
Like, really not. Like, only if you knew.
And the release date was pushed. That wasn't even the original one.
Yeah. But it's so strange how, that's what I'm saying. We did everything like so randomly.
Absolutely.
And then it just so happened to
ठीक है, whatever works.
Whatever works. Instincts work. So उसी पे करेंगे. But yeah, it's been fun. I'm beginning to enjoy this. I'm looking forward to the next 10 episodes that come.
Yeah.
And
Same.
Then we'll see what happens. Many hours of editing, many hours of prepping. Then thinking shoot कब है, क्या पहनना है. Stylist तो नहीं है हमारे पास. तो हम अपने कपड़े पहन के
क्या पहनना is entirely your stress.
Yeah. Randomly, whatever I have in my wardrobe is what I wear. Whatever I'm feeling that day.
See, this is another good point to put forward. Styling team नहीं है हमारे पास.
नहीं है हमारे पास. मैं अपने कपड़े पहन के आती हूँ. वो दूसरों ने पहले देखे भी होंगे. या आगे देखेंगे भी. So because I'm not an influencer now.
Yes, you're not an influencer.
I am not an influencer.
Just a nepo kid. I had to end it at that.
Just a hardworking nepo kid.
Yeah.
But a nepo kid.
Hardworking nepo kid.
Yeah.
I feel like I sounded like Devita a little bit right now. Great. Thank you so much for coming to your own podcast, Bani.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you for hosting.
You're welcome.